with another episode of the Branders Magazine, Talking with Branders podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Bacanza, and today, joining me in the studio, somewhere behind that piano, if you can see me, is Gerardo Ortiz, a co-founder of Brands and People, an agency based in Mexico, doing a ton of multicultural work here in the Americas. And I got to be honest, maybe one of the coolest agency names I've heard. Gerardo, welcome to the studio. How are you today, sir?
Thank you, Steven. Very happy to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation and really excited to have this conversation with you.
Awesome. For those who don't know about you or Brands and People, tell the audience, the branders out there, who you are and a little bit about Brands and People.
Sure. So my name is Gerardo Ortiz. I'm co-founder and also Chief Creative Officer of Brands and People. We are a design firm disguised as an advertising agency in Mexico. We have been working for 25 years. We co-founded the agency with my friend Emmanuel Moreau. We met in college, and the next day from graduation, we went and rent a little space and started the design firm. And so we've been working for 25 years. I think the last time we did a calculation, a little bit more of 1,000 brands created in this space, created and also managed, right? And so what we're trying to do is to collaborate, especially with people that are leading the next generation of projects and moving things forward. So one of the reasons that the agency is called Brands and People is because we believe that behind a really cool brand, there's actually really cool people and really smart people, really human people that are moving things forward. So for us, that trying to look for these leaders and these people who are like doing very interesting things in the world is important. So we try to focus the agency around those people, and it happens many times that they are behind very good brands as well. So when all those ingredients mix well, we get a very good recipe and a very good dish.
I'm getting hungry thinking about it. I love the name for so many reasons. I'm actually really fascinated with agency names. Like, I think there are like a lot of, I think no other industry gives you permission like the creative, obviously the creative industry, the ad industry, to just make the most obscure but coolest names possible. And as I learned about Brands and People and you and I started talking, I started thinking about, like, it doesn't really matter if you're B2C or B2B or whatever you are. At the end of the day, it's people to people.
Final.
That's it. Human beings.
Human beings interacting. That's so true. And we have stories before when you imagine that you're gonna work amazing with some brand that is really cool, but then because the people behind it is not probably not the best,
right caliber,
or the same cultural fit or something that doesn't work. And sometimes a brand that has maybe not like the shining, like appearance at the front or in the outside, but then there is really amazing people inside, and then you can do amazing, like really transformational changes with people that are exciting. So I agree with you totally that people is the final thing. That's it.
That's exactly it. It's the end of the interview. No, I'm kidding. That's it. If we have to say anything more, I'm fascinated. You said you are a brand firm disguised as an advertising agency. Tell me more about that.
Well, so somebody told me that one day, and I think I really like it. Because we were talking about Domino's Pizza, and he was a professor at the school that I'm doing in Berlin, and he was talking to us about how Domino's, it's a technology company disguised as a pizzeria, as a pizza shop, right?
Sure.
And so the technology and the logistics is the part that they have like really like perfectly, like solved. And then the pizza is just like, okay, let's do pizzas, but it could be something else, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about that, we started as you mentioned. I started my career in design, so I studied graphic design at the university, and my co-founder Emmanuel, he studied marketing. So we got together at school to produce some freelance work. We started like very young, but we started as a design firm, like doing branding, redesigning restaurants or small shops or galleries, or like album covers for
Hmm.
friends in music. And it was really like really exciting, really nice. But then I don't know if in US it's the same, but at least in Latin America, uh, being a design firm gets you to this kind of, like, to a certain kind of projects, and also to a certain kind of budgets, and to a certain kind of decision makers. And so we, for some reason, we discovered that advertising, uh, it was a different kind of like project
Yeah, it
scope,
expanded the scope,
and
expanded the budget.
budget, also the conversations that you can have more, a little bit more strategic.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's weird, and I'm not sure if that's happening everywhere else, but in Mexico, that was the route that we found, like, probably 10 years ago, when we
Mm.
kind of started to shift from being a design firm into like an advertising agency. But then at
Yeah.
the end, every time we enter, for example, like we get called for a like advertising campaign for a bank. And then once we're there and we know the guys and we know the people and we understand what they're trying to do, we try to, like, you okay, approach the brand as a brand, not
Yeah.
as an advertising campaign. And then how we can build the brand from every standpoint, right? From design, identity, but also communication, tone of voice, digital expressions, activation of special ideas, digital footprint, whatever. But for some reason, in Mexico, has been good for us
Interesting.
to be like that. And as a funny story, that you mentioned names. So the first company that we had, the design firm, was called minus 101, uh, and it was the worst terrible uh, name that we could find, because it was very difficult to remember for our clients. They
Yeah.
always got confused. You cannot get any URL correct. You
Right.
cannot get social handles. And it
Right.
was like so confused. It was cool because it has like a meaning about, how can you find grays between blacks and whites.
Hmm.
But conceptually was nice. And also because originally we have founders from one Canadian guy, an American guy. One, my other co-founder, is his father is from France, and me from Mexico. We wanted to have a name that was not like related to any
Yeah.
language
It's
or
kind of
anything.
synonymous with all the cultures.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it was super difficult. So we kept that name for a long time, for like probably 15 years. And then when we started to shift into bigger brands advertising, we changed to brands and people. And we have been having this name for like 8 years, I think 7, 8 years now. And now nobody asks what it means. It's very
Right.
clear. And so in that sense, we evolved, but we still love the other name because it's like kind of like classic, iconic,
Yeah.
weird, in a funny way, right? So
It's creative for creative sake, right? Where it gets, but it's interesting though, like the switch to brands and people. Like, yes, I think it's easy to understand like what it is that you do, but
mhm.
like when you had said earlier, a brand firm disguised as an ad agency, it just makes me think that behind every great ad needs to be a even better brand. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, if the ad agency is going to get you the budget, that's awesome. But like the brand needs to be solid, and I think that to me is like the ethos of it.
Exactly. And also, if you think about it, if you take a look at top 20 companies in the US, for example, you will find that most of them have design in the C-suite, right?
Yeah.
Like the designer is in the decision making. It's not about like building. It's not a like a cosmetic layer that you add to something. It's at the heart of the products, right? Like at Apple, Airbnb,
Hmm.
Adidas, Nike, uh,
Right.
right? Like all the technology companies have design at the center. Like it's clear, and so I agree with you that all like most of the good brands that have really cool communications or advertising usually have very like strong foundations of a
Yeah.
brand that is very well like crafted, right?
Yeah. We were talking about technology, and I'm curious. In Latin America, are technology brands as design focused on solely like Latin American brands, not American or US brands that
Yeah.
are down there, but like, are they operating around the same ethos?
I think the new generation it is. For example, there is a new generation of digital banks
Mm-hmm.
that are emerging. For example, from Brazil,
Yeah.
from Mexico, or for Colombia, delivery apps that they have been taking design as a as a center in
Yeah.
the development of the products because they are digital products, so design has to be there, right?
Yeah.
So there are very good examples, and for example, banks that are old school, like legacy banks, they are so behind in terms of the designing the experience or how to craft. And new banks that are smaller but with a very fast
Yeah.
client acquisition is having the design at the center. So
I think,
not
and there's a big disruption. And I think that that's the big disruption as human beings, right? Like, I think that we are all looking for products and services that are easier to use, more seamless, that are just designed better than these archaic or these old brands that are like, you're not the only option anymore. There are other options.
exactly, and you don't know until you know, right? Like
Yeah.
they are like, okay, we have no problems, we don't need to fix anything because we are dominating the market. But then in 3 years, you don't you lost like probably 10 years of research or 10 years of development,
Yeah.
and then in 2 or 3 years you lose a
You're out.
generation because also the generation is changing.
Right.
So the Gen Z don't want like something that you have to go to the bank. They want to do it in the app in
Right.
5
Right.
minutes.
Right.
So yeah, so I will say that not all of them, but a new generation of company are taking design very seriously.
And I
So
think, part of the DNA of brands and people, as I'm hearing you, is design. And I think design, for the most part, is all about evolution, right? And like making, like, evolving properly. And not to go back to the name, but like, as we look at this idea of brands and people, like, people are evolving daily with technology and with social media, so brands need to evolve even quicker to not alienate their audience.
totally. I
Yeah.
yes, and also like what I like about the design point of view when you work in brands or in branding or in advertising
Yeah.
is that at the end of the day you're trying to solve a problem for somebody, right? And somebody has something specific, a job to be done that they want to do quicker, or they want to solve, or they want to do seamlessly, or they want to feel recognize themselves, or they want to express something. So at the end of the day, it's always about somebody else, and that's something that I really like about design that we have been trying to like incorporate when we think about advertising as well, and
Yeah.
not only like selling something, but also
Right.
like trying to understand what's the problem that we are trying to solve, and how does the brand like helps the customer or the people to solve that problem in life. And so we have three principles at brands and people that we really like to explore and like try to reach. And one of those are simplicity. The other one is empathy, that has a lot to do with, you know, like uh, putting yourself in the shoes
Yeah.
of people. And the third one is beauty. And I think
Mm,
when we can when we can, you know, combine a really good combination of those three, like something that is simple but it's empathetic, like it understand the problem, and then the solution is beautiful. It's like when we are like, okay,
yeah.
we did a good job. It's not easy, but
No, no. I mean, I can think of only a handful of companies, Apple, maybe Audi. I don't even, there's a handful of companies that check those boxes fully.
it's, yeah, and sometimes it's even like small things that are well done. Like, for example, Airbnb, I don't know if you remember, like a couple of years ago, I think they reorganized the way you search for
Yeah.
vacations, right? And instead of searching about location, that will be like the first like convention, right? Like, okay, where do I want to go? And now they have these special filters that you can look for uh, mountains or
Right.
lakes.
What do you want to do now?
What do
Yeah.
you want to
Interest
do?
based.
And location is secondary
Yeah.
to your lifestyle. And that's
Yeah.
something like the information was there already. It's nothing that they changed it's not an innovation in technology. It's just how you organize the information. And that's
Right.
so beautiful, right? Like
It is.
something very simple, but that has to do with what you were saying before about how people's behaviors are changing, how people are traveling differently, right?
Yeah. And
And
it goes, Gary Vaynerchuk just has a new book that came out, The Attention Economy, and a lot of what he's talking about is how social networks are moving away from people based. It's not about you and I and our connection. That's not how I'm going to get served content. It's based on my interests.
hmm,
Mountains, music, pizza, whatever. So the content
whatever.
they're going to serve me is that. And what do? They keep me on the app longer, right? So I think there's a whole switch from a communication to the marketing perspective to really tap into mindset and to tap into interest based, because I
Mhm.
think there's like it's never ending, right? We all have these interests and we want to explore it. And I think like a brand like Airbnb, just changing the hierarchy of information does amazing things to keep people on the app, to get them to book more, book longer, and explore like all these resources that they have.
Totally, totally. And also like small innovation that they did, for example, like taking better pictures of places.
Right. Amazing.
It's nothing like, you know, like if you think about it, it's nothing really complex, but then if you do it really well, and then that's something that
It's a game changer.
differentiated, or the game
It's a
changer
game changer for businesses.
for
It's like,
business.
if you're working with a small business, it's the difference between hiring a photographer than using stock photography. To me, that little difference is going to be monumental.
Monumental. Totally. No, I
Speaking of something monumental, Gerardo, rumor has it you are coming back from France, from Cannes, with some hardware. You just won a silver,
know.
right?
Some hardware. I love that. I love that expression.
You're coming back with some hardware.
Some hardware. Yes.
Congratulations, number one. Like,
Thank
what
you so
an
much.
accomplishment. I
Thank you.
think you said four mentions and one award, right?
Yeah, 4 shortlists, and one of those shortlists became a silver lion in design, actually,
Oh,
which I really like.
tell us more. Like, that's incredible. Congratulations to you and the team. Tell us
Yeah,
more.
totally. To the team, did a super amazing effort. So this is a really nice story. We to share with you. It's a project that we did with an entrepreneur from Mexico, actually. He's also from Monterrey. He's super young. His name is Diego Roel, and his company is called Straptech. And what they do, this guy not discover, he became very interested in innovation for people with different abilities. So he designed a device of assistive technology that helps people that are blind or visually impaired to navigate the world without the cane. So what it is, it's a wearable device. It's like a harness with
Oh,
a
okay.
sensor. And what it does, it scans the environment in real time with sensors, and then translates the information, and then informs the person through haptic vibrations in the straps where the obstacles are. So, for example, if you have an obstacle in front, like let's say like a tree branch, it will vibrate here in the how do you call it?
Shoulder, collarbone. Yeah.
Collarbone, exactly. And then, for example, if it's in front of you, it will vibrate in the middle, in the chest. And then if it's something in the lower part, for example, I don't know, like a bench or something that is in the floor, it will vibrate here in the ribs. And for example, if you find a stair that is going up or is going down, it will make a pattern from bottom to top,
Wow.
or the other way.
Oh, wow.
So the story is very nice. He invented that when he was in high school, and then
Is he visually impaired?
no, he can see, but he saw a person one time. He saw a person in the supermarket with mobility issues, and he kind of like, and he was his same age, the guy he saw. So he was very shocked because he in his mind he always related like disability with maybe like
Elderly.
elderly or something, and he was very shocked, and he came back with to his home to do like some he was into robotics, and he developed the prototype, etc. So when he was ready to kind of launch the product to market, because he got very nice investments as well, he came with us to do the rebranding of the company, and also to create the name, the brand, and the packaging, and all the narrative of the product. That at the end it was called ARA, which is the name of a southern constellation that is really nice for navigation.
Sure.
And so we started with that project that was kind of small for us, but then the relationship became very interesting, because imagine, Steven, that in 25 years that we've been working here, and probably 1,000 brands created, I don't remember a company that came with us with a brief that mentioned or focus or consider people with different abilities. So I know that Latin America is probably 10, 20 years behind North America in terms of accessibility, but it was the first time. So we really enjoy working with this project. And then this year, we got invited to South by Southwest to speak about this project together. So we went and speak about design and accessibility, and the combination of design, technology, branding as well, because it's usually, when you think about medical products, they are not usually very attractive, right?
No.
Well, usually not very nicely designed. So we wanted to break that convention as well. And when you see the project, it's a little bit more into the, I don't know, more into Apple kind of language, in that space of technology, not into medical. So we spoke at South by Southwest in the official programming. It was really cool. And then after that, the company was in their final capital seed. They were looking for the investment round. So brands and people invested in that company. And then we packaged the project for Cannes, and then we did the
Oh, wow.
So it was like the first 6 months of this year has been quite busy.
I didn't realize. So you are is it just brands and people that invested, or are there other investors?
There are other investors already, and actually the company is is founded in Austin. They have already 6 patents, and so we were. It was I think it was the 3rd round, and this is the final seed round. So we were lucky to work with Deo about this, and then he's getting ready to go into very mass production and expansion now. He's already selling the product in 17 countries, and has been recognized by Fast Company as life-changing ideas, best of show and best wearable tech at South by Southwest,
Wow.
one of the most best inventions by Time Magazine, and now the silver lion. So we are really happy. And actually, but the thing is that the project it's an innovation that it's very human. It has empathy at its core, and also design beauty. So that's all as I was telling you, like
It checks all the boxes of
all
those
the
three
boxes,
pillars.
and also the people box as well, because
Yeah.
also the founder of this company, he's very committed to the cause, and he's very smart, and we got he's also like very conscious about design and brand as well. So all those combination
It seems like the perfect
work very well.
partnership. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to you all. I mean, that's amazing. It reminds me of almost how Red Antler goes about projects. You know Red Antler out of New
No.
York, the agency. So they're behind brands like Warby Parker and
Okay. Okay.
Casper, and
I'm
the
not familiar
gal
with the name. What's his name?
Red Antler.
Okay.
Red Antler is the name of the agency,
Okay.
and I think the co-founder, her name is Emily Hayward. Don't quote me on I think it's Hayward. She wrote a book called Obsessed, and it's about branding and people and communities that brands do. But the Red Antler model is very much similar to this, to where they work with startups and they almost invest or come in as an investor. Maybe it's in kind, maybe they're doing work pro bono or whatever it is. Yeah, but it goes to show the level of commitment between the agency and the brand, right? And sometimes, like, that's the hard part, right? In an industry where, you know, CMO only lasts 15 months and agencies every year getting shortlisted and getting kicked out, it's a whole different paradigm, and it's so refreshing to hear, like, you believe in this product and this entrepreneur so much that you're willing to invest part of your company's assets into it.
Totally. And actually, it's something that I recently was in probably 1 month ago, I was in Japan for my final model of my MBA. And there is a concept that I don't remember exact Japanese word for it, but I will tell you the concept. That is how I think they call it hyper coordinated framework.
Okay.
In which, so for example, companies invest in for example, Toyota. Let's take Toyota. So Toyota has investments in companies that serve them with parts, right? Yeah. And also with other companies so they are all networked.
Yeah.
With shares, like interconnected shares.
Yeah.
So like they build together, right? They grow together as a community of companies because their interests are like.
And I think it helps to eliminate the idea of the monopoly, right? And of the big, you know, one company doing everything. Now it's more about the idea, like, together we can all win.
Yes, and I think they do it more in like a kind of like in a country scale, like Japanese companies. But I think the idea of like, okay, so if this company makes sense to us and the values are there and the people are like, it makes sense. And also, so for example, we have I don't know if I told you this, but we are an independent company, but an independent agency, but we are affiliated to TBWA.
Oh, okay.
So that affiliation also gets us like another way to collaborate with other firms in Latin America, but also the offices in New York,
Europe,
US.
Wherever, yeah.
Exactly. And so all this kind of like, how can you like do new connections between founders that are working in technology, but also like a company that is working actually with Apple, like TBWA works with like Apple. And so that kind of connections are really, really nice.
I say this all the time. My wife says it too, and I love this quote. It's not about being competitive; it's about being creative. How can we together achieve something that's greater than the individual? Right, like the sum of all parts is greater than the individual. And insert analogy here. So I I'm a I'm a fan. I believe in the power of partnerships, and I
Yeah,
believe in the
cooperation.
power of of camaraderie and collaboration. So I didn't realize that Brands of People was affiliated with TBWA. Are you part of the network? Or are you still an independent entity? Like, are you, like, how does that work out?
Yeah, we are independent in the sense that the company is owned completely by us. The decisions and the financial decisions, all the
Yeah.
decisions are made here. But we have a relationship with them where we get access to the methodologies, the
Mm-hmm.
training, the cases, the network, all the collaboration with other offices, and there is a fee also that we uh, apply to them. So that kind of relationship with a big network that is super
Yeah.
important, it's super powerful. It's it has been game changer for us as well in
Yeah.
terms of how we organize culture. Because I don't know if you are familiar with TBWA, but they have
Of course.
this methodology called disruption.
Yeah.
So when we met them, it was so funny because we felt that we were very close to that kind of thinking, but very disorganized and like more it was more like an intuition,
Intuition. Mm-hmm.
because we never worked in some other agencies. As I was telling you,
Right.
right from college, we started the company.
Yeah.
So when we met them, we say, okay, so this is a very like methodology, structure, books, information, colleagues, other cases in the world that are doing kind of the same. So for us, kind of the relationship with TBWA gave us a structure, gave us
To
like
help you
order,
scale.
culture, everything,
Yeah.
and it was really nice actually for this journey to participate for the first time in the festival. We got a lot of help from all the offices in Latin America. It was a collaborative team. The vice president of Latin America, Damasia, was super helpful, like orchestrating, getting us into rooms to get feedback from people in innovation that are in Netherlands, or sometimes I got feedback from the creative directors that are working in Apple. And it was like super, like it works a little bit like a collective,
Yeah.
uh, because many of the agencies as well are usually TBWA is interesting because it's more like a collection of founders around the
Mm-hmm.
world that get together into one methodology, everything. But so there are like many small cultures, but together like working with
Yeah.
us energy. So it was nice.
It's amazing how these big agency networks. I've always my whole career has been on the independent agency side, except for 1 year when I was at McCann.
Mm.
And holy shit, like the way that they have things organized and the methodology, and like it instantly made me see like, wow, like this is a global powerhouse.
Mm.
And ultimately the it wasn't for me. But I just to be able to see like the inner workings was a game changer.
Yeah, but this condition that it's quite special when we still independent,
Yeah.
but also part of a collective.
See, that's why I was asking the question. Like, this is that's unique.
That's very unique and very I think very powerful in nowadays, because it's kind of like more flexible
Yeah.
way of collaboration, right? In the other way, you started your company because you wanted some space, some freedom, right? And then allowing to have that, but also like connection with something
Mm-hmm.
that is bigger, that is a collective. Also, you don't feel alone, and that's
Yeah. Which I think we all know as entrepreneurs, as creatives, as branders, loneliness is something that we all have to deal with. But you're not alone anymore, Gerardo. You're part of the Branders family, and we love you for it. Um, we
Amazing.
gotta wrap up here.
Sure.
Enjoy this conversation. We're gonna do it again. I would love to come down to Mexico and visit you in your office. I'm just throwing it out to the universe. But
Please.
for
Recorded
everyone,
now. It's recorded.
right, it is recorded. It's gospel. Tell everyone how they could find you online, your URLs, all that stuff.
Sure. So our website is brands.mx, or also you could get into brands.us. We have the domain as well. Our social handlers are at brands.people. You can find us on Instagram mainly. That's the main social channel that we use. And also you can find us in LinkedIn as well, Brands and People. And also in LinkedIn, we can connect. I would love to connect with everybody. Gerardo Ortiz. If you look for it in LinkedIn, you will find me as well.
Amazing. And for more on the Branders Magazine, Talking with Branders podcast, go to brandersmagazine.com. And for more on me, you can go to stevenpacanza.com. And until next time, Branders, peace out.